to the Confident Woman brand. I am Tanisha R. Atkins. I am the president of this amazing group of women where we are on a mission to help you to become a branded woman of purpose. And that means brilliant, resilient, admirable, notable, dynamic, confident woman. And why is that important? Because this is why it's important. Y'all pay attention. This is important. When your name, carries weight, you can do anything. You can literally impact the world. You can leave a mark for generations to come after you when your name holds weight like that. And so that's my purpose with the group, is to help us to become branded. When people say your name, what do they think of when they say your name? What do you want to be known for? What kind of mark do you want to leave again for generations? So that's my purpose with the group and everything. I'm all about confidence. Some people call me the confidence coach and all those wonderful names. So I want to thank you ladies for taking the time out to join me today. I definitely appreciate y'all. I'm so excited to hear what y'all have to say. Now, I call this the this and that girls chat because we're going to talk about things that women need to do and things that we need to stop doing so that we can be a branded woman, so that we can live a life full of purpose. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I was like, let's call it the this and the that girls chat. So with that being said, I'm going to let y'all introduce yourself. I already told y'all about me. I'm Tanisha R. Atkins. I'm not going through all the list of stuff I do. Google me. Just Google me. They'll pull it all up. There's too much stuff to talk about. So,
really?
Yeah, we got a list, honey. Blah, 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 blah. But for today, just know I'm the president of the Confident Woman Brand Group. That's what you need to know today. So let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. We're going to start with Miss T. Roberts. I'm going to throw her the ball. Go ahead, T. You got it.
Hello, Facebook. Welcome to Girls Chat This and That. My name is Tanisha Roberts, also known as T. Renee. I am a wife. I am a friend, a niece, a sister, and most importantly, I am a woman with a voice, and I'm very excited to use it here with you today. So, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Miss T. Miss Carmen.
Hi, everyone. I am Carmen McKinley. Look, I'm going to take a page out of Tanisha's book. You want to know everything about me? Go ahead and Google me. I like
Google
that.
Me, honey. Yes, Google me.
But, I'm a mother, a hardworking woman, a God-fearing woman, and an entrepreneur. So I'm glad to be on Girls Chat, This and That combo. And all of you all that are out there, go ahead and hit that share button to your pages so you can share to all of your good girlfriends, because there's going to be some real good conversation going on here. We want everyone to be able to chime in.
Yes.
Amen. Y'all see, Carmen's my sidekick. Carmen's about to be on the team, honey. I'm about to put on the ballot. Okay, all right. Go ahead, Charlotte. You next. We can't hear you.
Hello, I'm Charlotte Johnson, and like the rest of the panel, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm kind of everything. And today I'm here, to learn a little bit, share a little bit, and I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, Miss Charlotte. Miss Charlotte. Okay, Miss Cynthia.
Hello. My name is Cynthia Atkins, and I am also a mother of 4, a grandmother of 5, a little entrepreneurship in there somewhere too, and what else? I'm trying to be
and
retired.
She's the mother of this brilliant host right here, but go ahead.
Whatever. I'm trying to be a retired entrepreneur, however you say it. But anyway, don't look like that's happening too soon. So I am very happy to be here as well. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this the talk show gonna be about. And thank you for having me, Tanisha.
All right. Thank y'all, ladies. So the purpose of this girls chat and the panel is to empower other women that may be dealing with some of the issues that we're going to talk about today. All right. So we're going to talk about setting boundaries, learning to say no, living unapologetically, and the art of motherhood. Okay, so that's the topics that we're going to talk about today. And like Carmen said, hit that share button if you definitely know some women that need to tune in and need to be empowered in any of these areas. Okay, so I'm going to start us off, and I'm not going to talk long because I want to hear what these ladies have to say. But last week I did not get to finish talking. I didn't get to talk about something because we ran out of time. I'm getting feedback from somebody. Hello? Okay. So I'm going to, again, start us off talking about self-care because we didn't get to talk about that on last week's show. And so I just want to say this about self-care. If you don't take care of yourself, in the end, you lose. That's what I wrote in my notes. And when that kind of came to me, I had to stop. I was like, ooh, wait a minute. Let me pause right there, because what the next thing said was, you lose your time. You lose time here on earth. That's the way it came to me. And I was like, oh, Lord, I had to really stop and think about that. I'm like, well, and then it was like self-care is just that serious. And I want to say this, as women, we take care of everybody else. We make sure everybody is where they need to be, when they need to be there, they have what they need. But it's like in the midst of that, we're falling to the bottom of the list. And if you notice, like in a lot of families, and not for every family, but the women are usually the ones to go first. And you would think like, with all this care they giving out, they don't wear themselves out.
Right.
And
exactly.
Is definitely it's just that serious. And let me go. I'm going off my notes, y'all, because I don't want to miss nothing. And you know how the old saying goes that you can't pour from an empty jar. And the thing about people is that they will drain every ounce of energy, every ounce of resources, like whatever they can get out of you, they're going to get out of you. And so it's important that we set boundaries to say, no, this is not okay. And about listening to your body, your body will tell you when something is off. Like, you have headaches and stuff. Some of us, sometimes it is allergies, and then sometimes it's just because we're not getting enough rest. And things are just not in balance like the way that they should be. So for me, this is something I have definitely said, I have really got to make this a priority with the self-care, because I can get on here and pour into people, but I need to make sure that I'm straight. I need to make sure that I'm scheduling time to take care of myself, even if it's just going to sit outside and just getting quiet time. All of that, is important. And I did a shirt. I have a shirt out there actually because I have a t-shirt line. And on my shirt, it says that I'm God's masterpiece. Watch how you handle me. But the thing is, people vibe off of us. So if we mishandling us, then they think it's okay for them to mishandle us. And so that shirt I was thinking about that. I was like, wow, that is so true. Watch how you handle me. But then you have to teach people how to handle you. Like, it's okay to do favors and to help people and to, do this and do that. But when it gets to the point where you get overwhelmed and you don't have time and energy to take care of you, that's the problem. So that's one thing that I'm going to be pushing a lot with this group is self-care, because self-care is not stolen moments of taking care of yourself. It's scheduled time to take maintenance on yourself. Like, this is our body, this is our machine and our vehicle here. If we don't take care of that with our mind and our emotions, and I wrote down different ways that we can implement self-care. And one way is by saying no to toxic people and negative people that are draining on your emotions, because your emotions have to be taken care of as well. So sometimes you have to block that toxic, that person that want to call you all the time and tell you what's going on in their house. You got to watch that, because they're going to be right back over there playing Monopoly and you over here stressed out, So y'all know me, I'm giving you, but it's just the truth. Like, we're in this era where people need to get a therapist, you need to get a therapist and stop always calling your friend and be like, well, he doing this. It's okay to have a little girl chat, but if this is a consistent problem, honey, I'm gonna recommend you to 1-800 what's the young little somebody fix your life, because this is getting to be too much. And I would like to see women to say, no, this is not okay. And let me tell you, I have a big issue with people popping up at my house without calling. That's an issue for me because I feel like you coming in my space and you interrupting my flow. My mom hate when I say that, but it's just rude. It's rude to me. Can y'all tell her that's rude?
Yeah.
That's rude.
Mama, I agree.
That's rude.
I agree too.
It's hard to get a flow sometimes, you know, and I deal with procrastination. So when I get my flow, I need to keep going. I don't need you to be knock, no, and I don't want to be
But
rude.
you can't be rude, man. You know what I mean? Sometimes people be in the air, oh, I was just passing by, and I just decided to stop by. I just don't see nothing wrong with that.
I see something wrong
There's
with that.
something wrong with that. That means you're not respecting my privacy or my
That's
space.
fine. What if I just want to sit down in my pajamas and I don't feel like doing all this? I mean, I'm just, you know.
Then so answer the door.
Well, I mean, I think it's
I won't.
a boundary.
I don't.
The boundary that you got to set.
I mean, I'm just saying.
And then, y'all, it doesn't happen often. So
Oh.
don't make it seem like it's just like every time you look around, somebody just popping up. You know, it doesn't happen often. It don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if it does, it's your brother or your sister.
I don't care if it's Papa Rudolph. You need to call when you come to that door. That's just me. I mean, listen. I understand. I love my family and I like to spend time with them, but I just feel like, especially me, because I do a lot and it throws off my flow. You know, I feel like I can't take care of my inner peace. What if that's just my scheduled quiet time right there? And here you are knocking on my door, like I'm coming in here. You gonna let me? We gonna move on for that.
Yeah.
But that's what I got to say about self-care. And now, you know, the floor is open, y'all. You know, if anybody want to kind of chime in on something I said, this is our time to do that.
I agree with you with the self-care totally. I do agree. I'm sorry, Mama, with the popping up at the home. Like my friends and family, they already know. Like, there's not going to be a once in a while you're going to pop up. You're not going to pop up at all, because I understand what you feel, what you said about your space. And like my home, I'm real like protective of my space and the energy that enters into my home. Like, I believe in burning sage, having, you know, good vibes and good moves, and, you know, I'm a prayerful woman as well, you know, and I don't want that negative energy, especially you may have been battling with something during the week or on your job, and then when you come home, that's like your sanctuary. So you still have to protect not only your peace, but you have to protect your sanctuary as well. And if I'm feeling as though my home is my peace, that's my little protection, my sanctuary, then I don't need anybody coming in and disturbing it. And that's all a part of self-care as well. So, you know, I get it. I feel you.
Just call first. It's just respect. Just call first. And do you feel like being bothered? Is this a good time? Do you have anything going on at the moment? So I can tell you, go away, come back tomorrow, and leave me alone.
And I agree with Carmen and with you too, Tanisha. I mean, especially protecting my space.
Yeah.
I don't like bad vibes in my space. People bring that negative spirit into your home. This is where you come to get your refuge, so you can chill, you can relax, you can unwind from all the negative stuff all day. And I don't want that in my house. Certain people are just not allowed in my house. I don't like certain things in my house. I mean, I prefer to be here by myself. But since some people have to be here with me, you know, okay, they're here. But visitors just popping up, no.
Yeah.
Just call first. You know, that's all. Just call first.
I agree with you, ladies, and I just think it's a boundary. Like Cynthia said, you know, she's open to her sibling maybe stopping by. You know, they were in the neighborhood, but I think it's a boundary, and I think people that are in your life and your family, they know generally if Cynthia doesn't mind if I pop up, but Carmen, I might have to call first, or Renee, let me see if she at home and if she's, you know, up for company. So I think what we're saying is all valid. I think it just depends on your boundary. And if you haven't set that boundary, I think you should be clear about it. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like I agree with that. For some people, they may feel like, you know, I don't care. Come on by, you know, do whatever. And that's okay sometimes. I don't like it all the time because procrastination is a thing for me. And once I get that flow, I feel like it's a trap to get me off focus. And so I just I'm a creative person, and we have to have a little quiet sometimes. And when I don't get that, it just frustrates me a little. But I love y'all that come over. Please don't take it personal. Call me first. Let me
just clarify some stuff. I'm not saying just I'm happy about somebody just popping up not calling, but my attitude about it is not jacked up like hers. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes we want to sit around and relax, and when we really don't get much quiet time because it's always consumed with grandkids that really don't know how to go home. But anyway, but I think it's the attitude. Y'all have to see how she act when they do.
But you always had an open door. You know, we just
always
we can always come to your house. We didn't care what time of night, like nothing. And people have to start respecting that boundary and that space, or you never gonna get your time. Yeah, I mean, I did need that at the time. I don't know, I'm just saying, people.
I'm trying to do the roommate thing with her, but I'm about to leave her with some cats. I can't.
You ain't leaving me with no cats.
But so that was our time for that. So let's move on, T. Since we're talking about, let's flow right into your area, which is learning to say no and setting boundaries. So come on to the table, T. Roberts.
No, I definitely need to hear that one.
Honey.
How to say no.
Come on, T.
Well, let's talk about, the word no. And I want to bring some context. So using the word no is not to be mean, and it's not to be mean-spirited. Okay. So I just want to set that. I also want to say I have not yet arrived. This is something that I believe God is doing a work. I'm better at it. I'm gonna just share, I feel like there was a point in my life where I was very people-pleasing focused. If I say no, will they get mad? If I say no, let me put it like this. Have you ladies heard of FOMO? FOMO generally stands for fear of missing out. Mm-hmm. So I want to piggyback on Pastor Michael Todd. And in his message, he talks about FOMO meaning fear of meeting opposition. And a lot of times, that opposition could be someone's hurt feelings, or, they feel some kind of way because you told them no. And, using the word no is not mean. It's not meant to, shut someone out. But what the word no is, first of all, it's a complete sentence. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that came to me is like, how when you make a transaction, like you pay for something and they give you a receipt. When you choose to intentionally use the word no to any request that crosses your personal care boundary, it's not selfish, and you don't owe them a receipt. In other words, you don't have to give an explanation. That was me too. I had a friend that told me, she said, Renee, I accept it. You don't have to give me a reason. And it really stuck with me because I was doing it and not really realizing. I would say, well, no, because so-and-so and so, or no, because, and I was doing it a lot. Now, depending on the situation, of course, you have to take everything in context. Depending on the situation, you might be able to say, or you might have to say, hey, this happened, or I have to adjust my commitment. But I'm just talking about in terms of knowing your limits, and your bandwidth. And so when you, the intentional use of the word no to any request that crosses your personal care boundary, it's not selfish, it's self-preservation. And, I want to repeat a quote from Dr. Tony Evans' daughter. Her name is Crystal Hurst. She said, there's only so much you can do. So you'll either blow your top or you'll learn to say no. Mm-hmm. Right. And so, one of the things that, for me personally, I feel like no is the response that supports your decision for your self-care boundary. So I just want to give a personal example. So a couple of weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, I had a heavy school schedule because, I work, but I'm also in school. Yay, me. I'm a student. And so, I really, my commitment or my yes, whatever that may be, is very important to me, and I aim to do my very best at it. So I had a heavy load, this weekend. I knew I was going to be in the house that weekend. getting my work done and stuff, minimizing distractions. And I had like the week of leading up into that weekend, I had a request, if I could, have something, at my house. And, while I would have loved to have done it, I knew that in the scope of the rest of the semester, that was just a project that I couldn't take on. My heart wanted to say yes. It really did, but I just couldn't do it. And so a couple of days later, I got some phone calls about, singing at an event. And, with singers, not to go off the subject too far, but with singers, if you're good at it and you take it seriously and you want to minister, it takes preparation. It requires a long list of things. So I had to say no. One of the requests was less than 24 hours later. And so I was like, wow, I just can't fulfill that request. And so, but a few years ago, the old Renee would have probably said yes. I would have probably taken away from, whatever else I had to do, which meant, would have minimized, it would have had me stressed out, maybe not meeting my deadlines and putting myself, in a bad, mental space. So what I've learned to do is, really scale back on the pleasing people, the whole people pleasing thing, because you just can't please everybody all the time. You just can't. And then of course, a part of that was, I feel like I found my identity in being able to do and be for other people. Right. So in other words, if every time they call on me, I can rise to the occasion, then that somehow adds to my self-worth. But guess what? You're already worthy and enough, whether you say yes or no.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You're right.
And being there for everybody, when I say everybody, I'm talking about, just going over and above for your friends or, of course, family members and things of that nature. Sometimes you give so much. And so what's pouring back into you?
Absolutely.
And I feel like we talked about it earlier, when clear boundaries are set, then I think it teaches people, like you said, Tanisha, how to treat you. But then also, I guess it sets the precedence for how much, people feel like they can expect from you. Because I just feel like there's some people, who would just pull on you because they know you have an issue saying no.
That's right. Because you don't have no they don't see no boundary line, they won't know where to stop because there's no line. So they'll just keep asking and asking, like, oh, she's not comfortable. But that's why it goes back to that confidence, and that's why with the whole branded thing, you have to already know that you are enough. And the thing about people, when you do say no, the wrong people who only selfishly asking anyway, they still gonna have something to say every time you say no. If you say no, you're gonna be this or that. So no, I can't do it. If you're in your feelings about it, I'm sorry, but that's hey. I like that you said, stop giving receipts. It's like, no, I can't do that, But it goes back to knowing your purpose. Because everything doesn't flow with your purpose. Somebody asking you to do something to get you off of your purpose, I can't do that because that affects who I am. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on that. Yeah.
And even like I said, practically, if you have, something coming up, or, you need to get, your sleep, or you have, a situation going on with your child and you need to, be your best to, do something else because you already have a prior commitment. I'm not saying, you have to compartmentalize and you can't balance things, but at the same time, I like to say it like this. You need to know your bandwidth. That's your responsibility. Because in most cases, nobody's going to say, hey, Carmen, you've been really going at it. You should probably take a sabbatical. Hey, Cynthia, you've been allowing everybody in your space, and really don't take out time for yourself. You can't count on someone else to make that determination for you. And I think it has a lot to do, it supports our mental health, our emotional health. And sometimes, we have to really pull back those layers and say, hey, is it, when have I poured into myself? And I'm going to tell you, once you make that determination. If that's what you need to do, it will be challenged. In other words, you're going to have situations that's going to pop up, you know, and you're like, man, you know, I just made this decision to start taking better care of myself. In doing that, saying no when I need to, and then you're going to have 10 people pulling on you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Definitely a changed behavior that you have to adapt to with learning how to say no.
Yeah.
You just can't
Right.
go and say no one time and think, oh, you've won the battle. No, it's a changed behavior that you have to constantly, you know, work at, because like you explained, if you keep giving, you know, you're not going to have any strength or energy left to give when you really supposed to give. You know, sometimes we exert and we waste energy on the wrong things, wrong people, going wrong places. You know, sometimes you just really have to fall back. And I love what you said, Renee. I'm going to definitely keep that and use that. You have to learn how to say no, and no receipts don't need to be given after that.
Right.
No, I can't.
That's good. That was good.
No, I can't. The end.
That was good.
Now, that was good. That's why they think I'm rude. See, when I say no, I don't really got to have real. I be like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. And they be like, well, you mean? Well, call me mean.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm selfish, but I don't want to do it. And I don't feel like I should have to do it. Now, sometimes you got to bend, you know. You can't be so hard to be like everything your way, especially if you have to call on people from time to time. Don't be like that. Don't be selfish.
Oh, absolutely.
But still bound.
Yeah, and I think, you know, in context, we're talking about people who are, you know, like I was, and like so many of the listeners, you know, who really struggle with saying no.
Mm-hmm.
You know, really cannot, you know, draw that line, and for so many reasons that they probably haven't delved into. Like I said, I know for me, it was based in people pleasing, and it was partly based in, you know, my my self-worth. Like, you know, if I say no, is that going to make me less in their eyes because I didn't rise to the occasion, or I didn't meet their expectation?
And then you say yes, and you still don't meet their expectation.
Exactly.
I mean, because it's just the point that they know you're going to say yes. It don't matter. You want to know what vet to go to, you call me. Okay, how about just go Google? Like, I'm going to Google for you.
Yeah.
You know, some things just don't require you to call me for.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't have time to do it.
Yeah. And then another thing, sometimes it may not be all flat out no. It may just be, well, I can't, you know, do that request, but this is what I can offer. Right? Does that make sense? Like one time I was asked to be a bridesmaid in a wedding. Well, I wasn't in a position where I could, you know, give that level of commitment. I counted the cost, and it wasn't much. I'm not talking about financially. I'm talking about financially, mentally, and all those other things. So I said, but I can offer you this.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I like that you tied it back to, you know, self-worth too, because sometimes you can use those little projects and stuff to validate your worth and say, well, I did this for this person and I did that, and you're really killing yourself because your body tired.
Yeah.
And just like you are enough. Like, you already enough. And it's okay, especially when you know you the type of person that when you do stuff, you do it from your heart. That's all that's required of you. And respect when people say no, because that means my grandmother used to say, if it's not in your heart, don't do it for me. And I used to be like, why she like that? You know, but because she knew if I ask you to do something and it's not in your heart, you're going to do it any kind of way. And I don't want nobody doing nothing like that for me. So you really should be happy when they tell you no and respect that, because then they be somewhere doing something, you know, maybe you need a babysitter and then they somewhat pinching on your kids because they really didn't want to do it. You see what I'm saying? We don't think about that.
Nisha, did you say somewhere pinching on your kids?
Yeah, girl, people ain't right. People ain't right, but like, I ain't want to watch these little nappy kids anyway. Then they somewhere pinching them. I'm just saying, y'all be watching the news and see all this stuff going on. I'm just saying, people is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, honey. And you got to, if they say no, don't start going down the line. Well, you did this, or you used to do that. Whatever I did or used to do, I ain't that girl no more. And
that's my new phrase right there.
I'm gonna put that on the shirt. I ain't that girl no more. Let me write that down. But
I mean, I'm not that person.
Yeah.
But that was good. Thank you, T. Robs. I think those are very good nuggets that you shared. So let's flow right on over into Miss Carmen. Learning this. What's your topic, Carmen?
My topic today is toxic relationships.
Toxic relationships.
Yes.
You see how they flow on each other? Self-care, saying
was
no
that
toxic.
kind of
Come on,
saying
girl.
no to toxic relationships?
It doesn't. Yes, and with this, it doesn't have to necessarily be with just your mate or your spouse. With friends, you can be in a toxic friendship, and not even know it. And the first thing that we have to identify with and realize is, like, we always are so quick to point the finger at the other person, or maybe call the other person toxic, but sometimes our behavior and our way of thinking can also have an effect on that relationship as well. And when you look up the word toxic, it simply just means waste. So when you're in a relationship that's toxic, their waste, they're putting it into your spirit. We was just talking about, having a good positive vibe and good energy. So when people are dumping their problems, their situations, all that garbage into you, it filters into your spirit. So you just have to really be very mindful of toxic relationships. I was in a toxic relationship for like 3 years, and I knew it was toxic. But, we just have this thing that where we want to hold on because one, we can't change the individual, or we think the
I'm
situation
sorry, y'all.
will change. But when you're in a toxic relationship, nothing is going to change unless you make the change to move on, because that relationship is not valid. It's not going to do you any good, and it's not going to help you. Period. It's just things that you can't control what the other person is doing. You can only control what you are doing, what you have the ability to control. And sometimes, we just feel as though that we can control people's behavior or their actions or their motive, or try to, bring upon them what we would want them to be. And sometimes it just doesn't work like that, So I know a lot of people that are involved with toxic relationships. And, one of my girlfriends, she's been in a relationship, and time again, we always have this conversation about, you're not tired yet. You say you want to leave, you say you want to get out, you want to, experience better, but you're still dealing with the same toxic person and being in the same toxic environment, and you're not allowing change to come, and it's difficult for, a person to say that they want change, but when you don't exude change, you're just falling into the same toxic environment, and then you ultimately become toxic. So you're no help to anyone else. And it's just mind-blowing that we go day to day, with different things, and when you're around someone, and this is what I want people to also identify with too. They may say, I don't know if I'm in a toxic relationship or in a toxic situation. If you're around an individual and every time you get around them, you are mentally exhausted, it's a combative situation, there's constantly arguments or negativity, you are in a toxic situation that you need to remove yourself out of. What good is it going to do to continue to be there if, you're not helping that person change the toxic ways that they have? And sometimes people who are toxic, they don't want to change. They've been that way for some time. They're comfortable in the skin that they're in, and anything that you will say or do is just going to add into and feed into that person being argumentative and combative towards you. Mm-hmm. So therefore, you just have to move forward. You just have to move on. And it's easier said than done. I was just talking to Renee earlier. We were sharing something privately, and I was like, girl, it has taken me a moment to get there. And to all of you out there, it will take you a moment to accept self-care, to move forward from a toxic relationship. But we're just encouraging you and trying to just give you some signs and help you to recognize the red flags while you can recognize it, because sometimes you might not be able to walk away from toxic relationships. Toxic relationships are abuse. It can come from a friend. Again, it could come from a partner. And you just don't want to keep being, tied into a toxic situation. You and in order to remove yourself fully, what I had to do was just have no contact until I was able to really move forward and heal from that individual. I know that it wasn't going to go anywhere. The relationship was not going to mature into, any further. So I just had to cut all contact. I just had to stop talking to the individual, because me constantly talking brought on more hope, thinking that things was going to change, and nothing was going to change at all. So, you just have to have a clear conscience, be prayerful, and move forward, and know that that individual has to change themselves. You can be prayerful about it and just guide it from a distance. Just move forward from the, toxic situation.
I want to say this too, because sometimes we think that, like, we hold on to people in anticipation and hoping that they're going to change. But you have to get real with yourself. If you don't see them doing nothing if they're not reading no books or going to no seminars or going to church, they ain't praying. If they ain't doing nothing to change, then change ain't coming. And that's what you have to get real about. You praying for them to change, and they might do good 1 or 2 days, but that's just emotional change. You see what I'm saying? They feel good today, so they're going to treat you good today.
Right.
But at the core of them, something going on.
Yeah.
A lot of people grow up in bad households. They have a lot of stuff that they carry with them from their childhood and stuff. Them people need to go talk to a therapist.
Absolutely.
So if they're not doing that, like that book say, people can't drive you crazy unless you get them the keys. Well, it's time to take the keys back. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, you ain't going nowhere. We spin around in circles. You got daddy issues or mama issues or something. You need a younger. You need somebody. And I can't, like, you sabotaging your own purpose. Yes. And at the end of the day, God gonna look at you and say, why didn't you do what I put you on this earth to do? Don't tell me because you was holding somebody's hand, because I ain't called you to do that. That's what he sent Jesus for. Jesus came to save us. So what you doing? We gotta have these tough girlfriend conversations, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, toxic people, and they don't assume responsibility for anything that they've done. They always want to play the blame game and reverse things back onto you. And you'll never be able to have a valid conversation or even get a valid point across to someone that's in that mind space. So therefore, it's like losing a battle that you're never going to win or never accomplish, and it's just tiring, it's draining, and it's like a dead end. So I just, share this with all of the girlfriends out there that's listening. If you're involved in something that's toxic, whether it be, a mate or a friendship, just pray to God for strength to move forward, because toxic people, they appear to be very normal people, but they have one single purpose, whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, and that's just to invade your space and not bring any good to it. And you don't need to be in that type of environment or situation, especially when you have a purpose on your life. You don't need any type of distraction to where it's going to get you off of your road or your journey to where God has designed you to be. And I believe like those years were a distraction to where I lost some time. And Tanisha made a valid point earlier where, we all have a limited time here on earth. We never know when our name is going to be called, when our time is going to be up. So therefore, we sing the song, but you have to literally live your best life. You have to put your best foot forward in everything that you do. And when you see those red flags appearing, identify it and know it, and be strong enough to move on, because it's only going to stop your progress. And you don't want your progress to be held up, because then that's when you miss that window of that blessing that God is having for you. And when you miss that season, you have to wait for your season to come all the way back around again.
All the way back.
Years, no telling what I could have done, where I could have been at this point. So now it's almost where I'm going to say, speaking for myself, it's almost like I was playing a catch-up game, like I lost all of this time. Now I have to catch up. I could have been so much further along, or I probably could have missed that window of somebody who I really was supposed to be with. But I was so caught up trying to hold on to an individual, knowing that that wasn't the individual I wasn't supposed to be with. And when you go and recognize that, you have to identify and say, you know what, this is not my time, this is not my era, this is not my person. Let me just go on, move out the way.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me say this before we flow into Charlotte, because that goes right into what she's going to talk about. You know, unfortunately, you know how you, excuse me, y'all. You know how when you see something, I know sometimes we'll buy something and they have this little pack of beads in there. Like if you buy a purse or something, they use to keep it fresh. You know, they have a little picture of a little skull on there to let you know this toxic. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, see, people don't always come with no mark. So that's why she said you got to know the signs. Some people talk, you need to shake them. You need to shake them up, honey, and find out what's in there. We don't know what's in that pack. We just know there's toxic in that pack.
Absolutely.
But we need to stop jumping in relationships so fast too, and be prayerful about who we ain't even going on that long, because that's a whole nother show. But just saying toxic people. Even friendships, like when you start to shake them up, like my great auntie Miles say, when people show you who they are, see, we see it and be like, oh, he a little crazy, but I love him, so we gonna keep on going. See, you done mixed that pack. That pack gonna keep getting bigger, and that pack gonna open up, and then you gonna be infected. Mm-hmm. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Then we're gonna go right into Charlotte, because that flows right into living unapologetically. Come on, Miss Charlotte.
Yeah. Lord, I mean, this is good, okay? And I'm telling you, you ladies are right on point, and it flows right into this. I had to write it down because this is a deep subject, okay? But living unapologetically, that is something that I have learned to do. And when you can learn to do that, you can live the best life, not just the phrase, I'm living my best life. You can live your best life, and you don't even have to say it. People will look at you, and they will know it. By the changes in your appearance, the changes in your attitude, the way that you talk, just everything about you. Mm-hmm. The thing about living unapologetically, everybody's not going to be happy with that. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're going to look at you. They're going to have issues. You're selfish now. You know, it just connects all our topics. But you know what? I don't care. And at some point, that I don't care is not because I'm selfish or anything. It's because I've made a choice to put me first.
Come on, Charlotte.
You know, I come first. It's not because I don't love you or anything. It's because I come first. Mm-hmm. And I just have to read what I wrote, because this is like, it's important. You know, as women, we tend to put everything and everybody before us and our happiness, like our kids and our spouses. And if we decide to do anything for ourselves, it makes us feel like we're wrong or we're failures as parents or wives. We walk away from our friends, we walk away from our careers, and anything that defines us as a person or as a woman, most of anything, okay? I mean, it's important that as women, we identify that we matter. We are mothers, we are wives, we are friends, we're all of that. But at the end of the day, if we are not taking care of ourselves and we are not our number one priority, we can't be any of those things to anybody else. And anybody who gets offended by that, what I've learned is, you know what? It's time to walk away. Because at the end of the day, like Renee said, and I tell them all the time, I gave so much until I didn't realize I didn't keep anything for myself until I was completely empty. Like to the point I had nothing, not a piece of mind. I didn't have anything. But when I went through that journey and he took me through those steps, one thing I promised myself, I would never go back there again for anything or anybody. Yeah, that's when you living life unapologetically. You know, that word a little twisted there, but y'all know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
I don't have to apologize for the way I eat. I don't have to apologize that I like to go and work out. I don't have to apologize that I want to work all day, because at the end of the day, I'm an entrepreneur just like the rest of you ladies. So some things we do because it's what we want to do. Absolutely. And having grown kids, and I feel like I'm my own responsibility now. Yeah. I have a sticky on my desk right now. It says priorities of my life. I have God, number one. I have self and my health, number two, because taking care of everybody else, I almost had a heart attack and I wasn't even 46 years old.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Now I'm 50 and I look better than I looked when I was in my 30s and 40s because I take care of me.
Yeah.
Okay. Number three on my list is relationships. Number four is family. And number five is business, because I have a tendency of overdoing. I had to learn that at the end of the day, whatever business God placed me in, it's going to prosper no matter how much I put into it. I don't have to kill myself to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So when we learn to live unapologetically, eventually everybody falls in line.
Yeah.
I've learned they respect me. They look at me. They already know. I don't even have to say no now. They be like, Mama ain't gonna do it. Or she ain't. Is she even in town? It's like, you know what? I don't have to apologize for what I choose to do.
So let me ask you a question too, because of course I know your history. That's my aunt, y'all. But how hard was that for you to? Because you were a hands-on mom too. So how hard was that for you to kind of put some boundaries up with your grown kids? Because I know it was probably a little tough for you to say, "Well, no, I can't get the babies," because she loved her grandbabies. So how tough was it? Was it hard for you to kind of do that? And what was the thing that just pushed you over to say, "Look, I know I have to do this"?
It was very hard to do that with my grandbabies, to do it with my grown son that, they just used to me for everything. But what pushed me over was when God said, you know what? You ain't paying attention to nothing that I'm telling you. You can't see none of the writing on the wall. So you know what? Let me knock you down for a minute so you don't have a choice but to see and to listen to what I'm saying. And when God knocked me down like that, he got my undivided attention because I didn't have a choice. I didn't have anything else. But through that process, I learned by stepping back, you know what? I was worried more about my grandbabies than I needed to be because they have a great dad. And by me being knocked down, he stepped up to the plate to the point now I rarely have to do anything. My kids, they started taking care of themselves because you know what? Mom didn't have it no more. I didn't know where I was going to stay. I'm trying to make sure I can keep my car. And all they ever know is, you know what? My mama always had it. My mama could always this, always that. It left them standing there looking like, so what we going to do? Because mama can't even do nothing for us. I mean, what we going to do? And during that process, we all grew. My entire family grew. And I still got to kick and nudge sometimes and I have to catch myself because I found myself falling back. I stopped going to the gym. It's like 3 months. I'm back eating bad and my stomach burning, all of this. I'm sluggish. And I was like, hold on. I done came too far. It's not about going and doing all this stuff for the outer appearance. It's because I feel better. It's because of my health. It's like, this is for me. If you sitting here looking crazy when I leave, you know where I'm going. You can join me. And I mean, at the end of the day, I just can't allow myself to get caught up. And as women, none of us can allow ourselves to get caught up. We have to take that time for ourselves. We have to sit back and figure out, what do we want? What is our purpose? And God gave us all a purpose.
Right.
And if you're doing all the things you want to do, trying to please all these people who most of them are ungrateful, then guess what? You can't do the things that he has you to do.
Yeah, that's it.
You just can't.
I remember my conversation with Tanisha when we were talking about overcoming obstacles and how I was in that position where I was just like literally just taking care of everybody, my siblings and kids and responsibilities with church. And I just had this moment of where I just had to just break down and let it all go. And there was something very clear that God gave to me, which was a part of my healing process. And the very first thing, and it all leads into, like with self-care and living unapologetically and being, in toxic relationships. First of all, you just have to forgive yourself for all that. That you've done or you felt as though that you didn't do right or could have done better. You just have to let all that go and forgive yourself. And that was the first thing I did. I had to forgive myself.
Yes.
Then I had to take it day by day, like whatever situation came my way, whatever obstacle, whatever challenge, I learned from all the experiences that I went through. Like, experience is a good teacher, and we ourselves can learn from the experiences that we went through. That's why we are all on here now and able to share to other women just by simply our experiences that we went through. And then there's another thing that I do now more than anything. I listen to my spirit. Yes. Because your spirit is not going to lead you wrong. If your spirit tell you, no, this is not the one, no, this is not the job, no, this is not the move, I don't think you should be doing that, listen to your spirit. And that all comes by praying, having a genuine relationship with God. And that's going to make you confident, just like Tanisha was sharing with building this brand, being confident as a woman, because when your spirit, that female intuition, tells you what you shouldn't be doing and maybe you should take a break, or no, this time is just for you, listen. Listen to your spirit, because your spirit is not going to guide you wrong.
That's good.
It's never going to guide you wrong.
And you get in so much trouble. I think about sometimes some of the things, God have told me to do in the past that I didn't do, being hard-headed, to flip 5 years later and be in something, dealing with something that I shouldn't have been dealing with because I should have listened 5 years ago. But we think we know. Oh, it's all right. You just ignore that voice, and God just be like, we just forget, like, he made us, like, duh, he know the story, he know the plan, but you just gonna do your own thing, and you just gonna always end up somewhere that you shouldn't be, dealing with somebody who you shouldn't be dealing with, having issues that you shouldn't be having. Yeah. Because like Carmen said, you just not listening. And now I learned that life is not as hard as I thought it was. We just have to listen. Even in the bad times when bad things are ahead, God will still start preparing you for those things, telling you to do certain things that you don't understand why he's telling you to do it. But then here come a storm that you needed to buckle down for. And some of us don't make it through the storm because we just ain't listening. We just ain't listening. We just got to stop being hard-headed. I be like, Lord, I'm so sorry. I know you told me to get up and exercise. I know you told me don't gain no more weight. And look what happened when I did. My blood pressure went up. I'm just keeping it real. Yeah. At the doctor, they saying, hey, your blood pressure's too high. And that nurse like, remember when I had told you to start getting up? It's just that simple. We just hard-headed. And I'm guilty. I'm working on it. That procrastination. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Well, this has been good, ladies. I want to put my mom in the hot seat before I let us go, because I told her that I was going to put her in the hot seat. So I just want to kind of ask her some questions. Your mic is on mute down there, so you're going to have to unmute it so you can talk. I don't know if she can still hear us. Can you hear us, Cynthia? She on mute. Hello. 9-2. Okay, there she is. Okay, so I want to put her in the hot seat because I've had a lot of moms I like coach a couple of women, and I've had a lot of moms that have kids that are kind of having struggles juggling them. And so I want to ask my mom, because she is a mom. She was a single mom with 4 kids. And one thing that people always used to tell her was how well behaved her kids were. And so just kind of like for the moms that are feeling like that they're not really coping with motherhood, Miss Cynthia, can you kind of give us some tips? Like, how did you, because you started off, and ain't no shame in our game. My mom did a great job raising us. I'm the woman I am today, and but she kind of started having kids young. But even in that, like I always say, other mothers probably would have lost their mind trying to be young and juggle kids and stuff. But she did it. Like, we went to school, we was dressed right, always groomed. And I find that a lot of mothers these days, they don't have the ambition to do that. And they're kind of struggling with the whole motherhood thing. So can you kind of tell us, give us maybe some tips, or talk to us about what do you think it was that kept you from not being overwhelmed with your kids at such a young age?
Well, first of all, let me say this. It was at one point I was like, Lord, Now you gave me these kids, they about to drive me crazy. And I used to just scream and yell at the top of my voice. And my mom used to always say, you need to stop yelling and screaming at these kids, or you have blood pressure, high blood pressure at an early age. So I just really had to buckle down and pray. I said, okay, God, now you gave me these kids. You're going to have to give me the patience. That was one of the things that I did not have at first. And lo and behold, he did give me the patience to deal with them, because anybody would tell you, even my mom used to say, down the road, how much patience I had, because, I was all they had at that time and they were all I had. So I guess we all just I had to learn how to just really adapt and embrace, motherhood. And, I used to lay on the floor. They all used to be crawling. Look, one on this leg, one on the other leg, one on this arm, on the other arm. And she used to be like, oh, my God, them kids not getting on your nerves. They're not smothering you, which at one point they were. But like I said, when I prayed and asked God for the patience to enjoy my kids, you know what I'm saying? Because at first, I had every last one of my pregnancies, I just hated it. And it's sad to say, but I did. I didn't want it, but unfortunately, I didn't stop doing I'm being real. I didn't stop doing what it took to get them. You see what I'm saying?
Right. That's
and
real.
so
That's real.
Once he gave me the patience to deal with them, it was just, it kind of, it really did flow. It flows smoothly. So I would say to the young mothers, pray and ask God, because God has given each one of these kids a purpose for being here. And it's not by a mistake that, he chose you to mother them. So just take the time and say, look, God, now you gave me these kids. Show me how to do it. Show me how, give me the patience to deal with it. That I just totally relied on him.
Yeah, that's good. Those are some really good nuggets. And I feel like, she deals with each one of us differently. What it takes for me, it may not take for the next one. And that's something that I can say that she has mastered. And a lot of people say, don't be your children's friend. But I think personally, that's what has kept us out of a lot of trouble and from doing things, for her having that policy where we talk to her about everything. We like she know if we call her and our tone ain't right, she know when something ain't right. She just be like, well, what is it? And she's able to say, well, I think you're not looking at this the right way. Or I think, you need to speak up for yourself, or whatever it is. So that's something that has, it just has really just helped us. Like, I know a lot of people probably would have thought some of us would have been in jail, or statistic this and that, but, that hasn't been the case for us. Like, just having a bunch of trouble like that. And I don't know where her patience come from. I don't know how she do it to this day, even with the grandkids. I'm about to quit my hand. So maybe I need to go pray, for some patience or whatever. But I just feel like some mothers just needed to hear that, because I feel like mothers are struggling in that area. They're feeling overwhelmed. And she and I talked about this the other day. And one thing she was saying was like, you just have to embrace it. You have to do things and don't dread it. Like if you're, I thought she was gone, but she say like, if you got to get up and you got to feed your kids and you got to bathe them, what's the point of you dreading it? You got to do it. They got to be fed. They got to give them a bath. So you have to do it, Now, in closing, Miss Cynthia, do you have, what kind of encouragement can you give to mothers that are feeling overwhelmed? Maybe they new mothers and they have a lot of babies and they feel like their life is just consumed with children and they worried about maybe having a life, What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, my advice, the first thing I would say, your children are your life at this point. Because number one, they're small and you have to take the time to mold and instill things in them. And as far as your life, let me say this. At first, I was kind of sad, because, well, I'm not going to say I was sad. It was like I was a single mother, and God always allowed me to do the necessary things for my kids. Not necessarily everything that they wanted, but they had everything that they needed. But we as mothers, of course, we do want to go, above and beyond just the necessities, if that makes sense.
We lost her some kind of way. But okay, is she back?
Yeah.
I think she's too far away from the Wi-Fi. I don't know what she's trying to say, but we talked about this. I think you're too far away from the house, and you're too far away from the Wi-Fi. Can you say something now?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better. Go ahead and finish.
Yes, we can hear you.
This is not an AT&T. What is that?
I mean, let me just pull up in front of the house. I had to get out the house because the grandkids are still in there, and they were so loud.
Well, look, while she pulling up, we can ready to wrap up, ladies, because I think we right at an hour. But while she pulling up, just that's why I thought it was great for her to be a part of this panel too, because she does love her kids and her grandkids, and I would like for her to be able to live more, do more things for her still, because she have raised us, as a single mom, raised your 4 kids, and now, it's time for her to, you know what I mean? She to get like Charlotte, just be gone to Vegas every other weekend, you know what I'm saying?
I've been trying to get you to go with me. You need to get out the house.
I'm coming, girl. I'm coming. Look.
All right, wrap up what you were about to say, Miss Cynthia, so we can go ahead and end the chat, because I
was just saying that enjoy your babies now while they're babies, because once that time is gone, you can't get it back. You can't look back and say, well, I can't remember, ever doing this, or I can't remember ever doing that with them, because you so focused on your career. Because it was a time I was just praying and praying and praying. I wanted a job. And at the time, God wanted me at home. He wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom so that I could teach my kids. And they didn't have a dad in the home. So whatever I was instilling in them, that is what it was going to be. And I prayed, and then somebody said, well, if you pray for somebody else to get a job, God will bless you. Whatever you pray for somebody else to have, you'll have. I'm praying for everybody to get a job. Everybody got a job except me. And I couldn't understand why, Lord, why you won't give me a job? But I said all that to say this. After they got a little up in age, I did get a job. And I regret it, because you know why? Because I wasn't in tune with them like I was when I wasn't working. I was at home praying and, laying things out. And when they got home from school, by me being home and spending so much time with God, I knew what happened before they got there. Because God always kept me in the loop of what's going on with them. When that youngest boy of mine, I pick him up from that bus stop, I already knew. That look on his, you don't have to tell me nothing, because God had already prepared me for it. And I said that to say this. Just cherish the moments that you have with your babies while they're babies. Don't dread, being a stay-at-home mom. Or don't dread you don't have your career, you're not where you think you should have been, or where you might want to be. Enjoy your babies now, so you can create, instill in them and mold them into that kid that that God desired for them to be. As the scripture says, train up a kid in the way they should go. A lot of times we get that scripture, messed up. We've been hearing it for years. When they old, they will depart. And that's not what the word says. It says they might depart. But when they get old, they will come back. Each and every one of my kids know the way. They know the word. You know what I'm saying? They know we get up every morning having prayer, and we having prayer before we lay down at night. They know the way. Now, that youngest boy of mine, he act like he wasn't raised in it. He act like he wasn't raised in a God-fearing home, but he know.
He know.
So, and a lot of things, these mothers that I'm seeing, they dread doing things. I'm dreading getting up and getting them ready for school. I'm dreading, that dread, whether people realize it or not, is a form of fear. Mm-hmm. And whatever you fear, that's what the enemy will bring on you.
Yeah.
I did what I didn't think about it. I just did what had to be done. I didn't think about, oh, Lord, I got to go in here and cook for these kids. Oh, Lord, I got to iron these clothes. Oh, Lord, I got to wash these clothes. Or I got to comb these. Had to be done, and I did it. I didn't think about it. But nowadays, it's just like, well, I had a lady to tell me, you never did comb your girl's hair at night, and at the beginning of the week, and then at the end of the, just at the beginning of every week. And I was like, well, no, I just got up every morning and I did their hair. And you ironed all their clothes? I said, yeah. And I forgot about it. I had told the girl. And then one day she said, you know what, that's like 60 pieces of clothes. I said, what you mean? She said, you have 4 kids.
Wow.
And she actually sit and counted the pieces of clothes that I ironed. I said, I didn't even think of it that way. I was a stay-at-home mom. I ironed up I did what I felt like I had to do,
Right.
and just embrace motherhood, because it pays off. And then because when God entrusts these babies to you, you can look back and feel good about,
the things you instilled in them.
Right.
Well, those were some really, really good nuggets. Don't y'all think those were some good nuggets?
Yes, absolutely.
Some really good nuggets. And, I just felt like some mothers, just needed to hear that because of the dread. And like she was saying, for her path, God called her for a season to sit at home. And that's why you can't compare your life to nobody else. Because you might be a single mom. You might have to get out there and get it. Because that maybe your path is different. Maybe God needs you over here. So you just have to trust your path and don't try to, I'm sure she probably got a lot of slack for sitting at home and not working. You got 4 kids. You mean to tell me you ain't working? But during that time, God kept us. Now, was it rough sometimes? Yeah, it probably was. Probably had a little lights turned on here and there, but we all was fine. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna just like it was just smooth, easy say, but it wasn't the worst. We never was homeless or nothing like that, So, but this has been a great panel, ladies. I really appreciate. I don't want to hold y'all too long because I know it's going over to like 7:30. We got started a little late. I just appreciate y'all. Did y'all have fun today? Did y'all enjoy the panel today?
Yes, very much so. Very, very much so.
So I hope that you all will just take the things that you learned today. Hopefully that you heard something that inspired you from these amazing ladies who talks about self-care and setting boundaries, learning to say no, toxic relationships, living unapologetically, and we got some motherhood tips. So I think it was a well put together panel. I'm glad of the way it turned out, and I know for those that will take time and listen to it, that it will truly bless you. But we're going to let you all go for today. Stay connected with the Confident Woman brand because we're here every Sunday at 6 p.m. for Girl Chat. And me and Carmen are going to be back next Sunday to wrap up our conversation on friendships. And I'm going to talk to you next week about how to overcome hurtful friendships. So if you've been hurt by a friend, you definitely want to tune in. I already know we stopped with respect and things that you need to have in place to have a successful friendship. So we're going to pick up right there with respect and honor and just how to heal from hurtful relationships. So we're going to be back at 6 next week, and then probably a couple more girl chats, and that's going to be it for the year.
And Tanisha, I just wanted to leave one thought with the women that's on, something that I've learned from it, and I'm trying to just incorporate in my life daily. I just want people to know and understand, like, the waiting. I know you might be in a point in your life, in your situation, with all the various topics that we're talking about. And, the waiting, the meantime, the in-between time, it all serves a purpose. If you feel as though, like, your life may not be shifting or heading where you think it should be going, all of that, all those feelings that you're feeling right now, it all serves a purpose. And what you have to do is just trust the process, even the delays, the turnarounds, the going backwards, the starting over again, all of it serves a purpose. So you just have to trust the process. And this was something that God gave to me this week because I was dealing with some situations on my job, and it was something that he gave to me. He was like, you have to start shifting your conversation from being hopelessness from despair to possibilities and opportunities. You might be feeling hopeless right now. You might be feeling like you're in despair. But if you shift and align your conversation to where you want to go, which is more possibilities and more opportunities, once you start talking that positivity, you'll start heading there. So just trust the process, y'all. It's all gonna work out.
That was a good word. And look, I love to say this. That's how God built the earth. When He looked out and He saw that the earth was null and void, that's one of my favorite passages in the scripture, because God just saw what was needed and He called it forth. So if you're feeling like that, we got to go back to doing what He did. Call it into existence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't see it, call it forth. Your joy, your peace, you're feeling overwhelmed. You got to call forth that joy and call forth that peace. And command it to come forth. That's what God did. We made in His image. So if He did it, we can do it. Not just succumb to it. And I'm going to close with that, because that's what God been saying to me this week. If you feel symptoms or anything going on, sadness, something to try to comfort your joy, don't get in agreement with it, because God ain't in agreement with it. So it's like you have to make a decision at that point. You're going to get in agreement with God. He's love, joy, peace, faith, or you're going to get in agreement with the symptom. Because whatever you side with, it's like it ain't God's fault that you have allowed it to come, because you have picked and you have chosen that whatever you get in agreement with, which is what the word say, whatever you agree with, that's what God got to say. Hey, well, she agreed with it. So what can I do? Whatever you allow on earth is allowed in heaven. That's the word. Ain't that the word? That's the Bible. That's the book.
Word, Tanisha.
Really. That's the Bible. That's the book. And when God say that to me, especially just trying to get rid of this cold, we're gonna go, ladies. But since Carmen said that, I just wanted to share that. It was like, okay, you don't get in agreement with them symptoms. It may look like the cold was trying to turn into something else. Mm-hmm. Don't get in agreement with that, because my word say you heal. So what you in agreement with? So if you decide with God, you on His side. Now that thing don't stand a chance against you, because you and God saying the same thing. So when they come knocking on your door, it got to go away, because me and God on the team, So just wanted to leave y'all with that. But this has been a great chat. I appreciate you, ladies. Always a pleasure to talk to beautiful, inspiring women. I look forward to talking to y'all some more. I know me and T gonna do a segment 2 coming up later. I gotta get all that scheduled. I'm excited about Girls Chat. I don't take it lightly. Go ahead.
I just want to 30 seconds or less. I just kind of pull in everything that we have been talking about, just some final thoughts. God had ministered to me just recently, actually, about how fragile we are. Not that we're weak, but our emotional state, our mental state. We have so much coming at us in today's world. There's just so much disparity and injustices, and then we have our own lives to manage. And so what God put on my heart was that we're fragile, but we're fearless. And, fragile in, tying it back to the self-care, living unapologetic, not being afraid to use your no, caring for yourself. Responding to symptoms that you may have in your physical body, because life is short, but it's so precious. Yeah. And so when God put that on my heart, fragile, but fearless, I was like, okay, Father, how do you want me to unpack that? And I was led to the scripture where it says, yet we who have this spiritual treasure are like common clay pots, but in order to show that the supreme power belongs to God. So in us, in and of ourselves, there's this fragility, and our responsibility is to care for ourselves in the context of what we were talking about, so that power, I think, can even be, God can shine in us even more. So I just wanted to say, I appreciate being on the panel, and, I'm just amazed at how all of it came together, how God has dealt with us individually, and then we come together and hopefully say something that bless somebody else today.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you for sharing that. I definitely, and I'm glad that you got through, because I know T was a little 5% nervous, but you came through. You did good. You brought it to the table, and it was amazing. So I'm looking forward to chatting more with y'all in the near future as we go on. Be ready, because I'm gonna be calling. I'm like, I got a panel, and I already know who's gonna be on it. So be ready, because when the chemistry is there, it's there. You know what I mean? So I thought that this was a great collaboration. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. You can catch the replay, and also I'll put it on YouTube within a day or two. to get that together. But thank y'all, and be on the lookout for me and Carmen next Sunday. Friendships round two. Thank y'all ladies so much. I appreciate y'all. Y'all tell the people good night.